Welcome to the local campaign, and thank you for joining us. Today we are going to meet the candidates who are running for Mayor of Ottawa in the municipal election on October the 22nd. Because there are 12 candidates on the ballot, we aren't able to present a debate to you. That would be too unwieldy with a dozen candidates in the race. But what we are going to do instead is provide each of the candidates with an opportunity to give you an opening statement and a closing statement, and to answer 3 questions about the future of the City of Ottawa. So let's begin with the opening statements. We'll provide each candidate with 1 minute to speak to you, and we will begin with Hamid Alokozai.
My plan is to bring prosperity to the City of Ottawa and also keep the property tax low as much as I can. At the same time, I would like to improve the healthcare in Ottawa, and from the city perspective, the transportation, which is very, very important. And the residents of Ottawa, they need those 3 priorities, including other city projects, road repairs, low-income family, 1-income family, no-income family, social housing, the nurses' situation and problem in the city. Those are all the problems, so on. We would like to work together as a team to meet the demand and the requirement we have.
The next opening statement is from Ahmed Bouragba.
I'm a father of 6 boys, and I'm a foster parent with the CAS, the Children Aid Society. In the last 15 years, I raised about 50 kids in this province. I took care of them, and I protected their interest, and I returned them to their parents safe. I'm also a teacher in this province with many years of experience. My contributions, they were recognized by the Ontario College of Teachers that I made significant contribution to the students of our province. I was elected in 2012 after an endorsement by the Ontario Teachers Federation to represent the teachers in the public institutions.
And now the opening statement from Clive Doucette.
I want to deliver transit for everyone by launching Capital Region Rail system similar to Toronto's GO Train. It will connect Canada North, Barrhaven, Orleans, and Gatineau through the new Bayview station. Capital Rail will rely on existing corridors, making it a very low-cost project that can be delivered in 4 years, just like we delivered the O Train. We want to increase ridership by reducing transit fares for all. A city for everyone means a home for everyone. We need to stop the erosion of affordable housing for luxury condos, as we've seen at Herongate, and respect neighborhood values. Instead of fighting City Hall should fight for you. I defended my ward vigorously when I was a city councillor. I will defend our city with the same passion. You can count on it. Together, let's build a city for everyone.
Once again, we're introducing all of the candidates who are running for Mayor of Ottawa in the municipal election on October the 22nd. The next opening statement is from Joey Drouin.
I'm running for mayor for one major reason. Our nation's capital must change its governance structure if it truly wants to deal with the 21st century problems that our region will face in the near future. We must create a new governance model where the political benefits of doing the right thing for our nation's capital outweigh the political costs. I believe that the current structure, in which we have two separate cities under one national capital region, creates artificial barriers and divides people rather than bringing them together. Instead, I'm offering a new vision for our region, one in which we have a single, unified city that brings us closer together and will help us face our challenges on both sides of the river better and more efficiently. Under a unified capital, we can prioritize smart growth, administer social services more efficiently, and we would have the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create an example to the rest of the world of what a truly environmentally conscious capital looks like.
And now the opening statement from Ryan Lithell.
Hello. My name is Ryan Lithell. I have lived in Ottawa for my whole life, and I have a physical disability. The reason why I'm running is because I find that City of Ottawa really doesn't understand the needs of people with disability. And I would like to be the face and the name representative for people with disabilities living in Ottawa. Thank you.
And the next mayoral candidate is Craig McCauley.
Hi, my name is Craig McCauley. On the web, just type Bell's Corners to see my electoral platform. Wasteful Watson and his gang of developer finance career politicians are wasting your taxes. Many of them do not deserve your vote and should be kicked off the gravy train. We want a council that is working for the entire community, not just for the 1%. We want a compassionate, exciting, and green city with a strong, sustainable economy, not higher profits for the developers and insiders. Time to drain the swamp. I'm Craig McCauley at bellscorners.wordpress.com. You might want to vote for me for mayor, but in College Ward, vote Emily, maybe Ryan, but certainly not for Rick. Don't even think about it. Not good.
Our next candidate running for mayor is Bruce McConville.
Hello everyone, my name is Bruce McConville, and I'm running to be the next mayor of Ottawa. Lots of people ask me what motivated me to run and lead this city through the next term of office. I believe we have several deficits at City Hall. The first one being financial, and we'll be dealing with those. The second two are a deficit of leadership and integrity through our city council process. So many decisions that come out lack three very essential ingredients: accountability, consultation, and transparency. Our voters are being failed time and time again by the process that's currently in place.
Once again, we're allowing each of the mayoral candidates in the municipal election on October 22nd to speak to you, the voters. And instead of a debate, because there are so many candidates, we're providing each of them the opportunity to make a statement and then answer some questions, which we'll get to in a moment. Our next candidate is Michael Pastien.
Hi there. My name is Michael Pastien. I'm running for candidate because I'm the best candidate for mayor in the city. I've got a diverse degree of experience, probably by far the most diversely accomplished candidate for the city. And there's a higher likelihood that you would nail down the diverse areas that I've had experience in, hundreds and thousands of hours in different career areas. So there's a lot of serious areas in the city that we have to deal with. The LRT is a mostly backwards program that's costing the city $1 billion, and federal and provincial the same thing. And it's a project that we didn't need, and it's a project that's replacing, that's mirroring a terrific transit system that's existed from east to west for a long time, and it's highly efficient.
The next candidate is Moises Schachtler.
Good evening. I hope you're doing great wherever you might be. I'm not going to lie to you. My name is Moises Schachtler, and I'm running to be your next mayor of Ottawa. My message is simple. On October 22nd, between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m., vote for young, honest, bold, and innovative change every time. My campaign is about minimizing future regret, maximizing average expected happiness, trust, transparency, and accountability. The things that excite me the most about my platform are creating many more beautiful, modern, community centers, and reducing the number of homeless people living in Ottawa to 0. Your support will mean everything to me. When you vote for me, you are supporting young, honest, bold, and innovative change. Every time. Visit moseschatler.com to learn more.
And now the opening statement from Jim Watson.
Hi, my name is Jim Watson. 4 years ago, I had the honor of being re-elected mayor of our beautiful city. I'm proud of the work we've done collaboratively with community leaders, business, labor, other levels of government to get a number of projects that were literally stuck in the mud for a long period of time. Getting shovels in the ground for LRT, expanding the Arts Court and Ottawa Art Gallery, which is beautiful success in our downtown core, building recreation centers in our suburban communities. The Innovation Center at Bayview is bursting at the seams and creating jobs along the way. On October 22nd, I ask for your continued support so we can continue making progress in all parts of the city, and also making sure that Ottawa remains an affordable city with a reasonable and predictable tax rate. On October 22nd, please support my candidacy for mayor, and you can get more information on my platform and my background at jimwatson.ca. Thank you very much.
So that wraps up the opening statements. We're now going to ask each of the candidates to answer a question about the future of the City of Ottawa. 3 questions, in fact. Let's begin with a question about light rail, which is the biggest infrastructure project in the city's history. We recently learned, of course, that for the second time there will be a delay in the opening of Phase 1 of light rail. It won't be open until the new year. Taxpayers also learned in the spring that a $1 million penalty that was supposed to apply at that time for a delay did not apply to the construction consortium. So the question is, does the public deserve better transparency and accountability as future phases of the light rail project are introduced?
Rail train transit, which is a very big project, and that project is belong to the budget. And there is a lot of concern about the technical problems about this project. And Canadians, the residents of Ottawa, they have more concern from different point of view about that project. It's a very important one, but need money, budget. If there is no budget and proper technical support, and the demand of the people are high, and the residents of Ottawa, they want it to be implemented. But at the same time, if the city doesn't have a budget to do that, that's the problem, all the delay. And also, the penalty is a big problem because when the city loses the money, that's the money of the people.
Does the public deserve better transparency and accountability as future phase of light rail proceed? Absolutely yes. We have major problem with governance. We have major problems in the city. So the city and the public, they need transparency. The people, they need transparency. Taxpayers, they said enough is enough. It's the time for the people to control their interest by themselves. How to do that is only by having good governance. And having good governance, it depends on who is the mayor. You should vote for the strongest and most reliable person. You have the choice of 12 people, 1 or 2 they already worked at the city, and we didn't see any transparency, any accountability. It's time for transparency.
The biggest problem we have with light rail is transparency. I'm thinking of, for example, the great delay right now, the Rideau Centre station. This should have been at Confederation Square. This is where the engineers and the geological studies said it should have gone. They saw problems with the Rideau Centre. It was changed by the sitting mayor. And of course we had a sinkhole, and now it's the #1 reason we have another delay. No one really knows what's going on at the tunnel, not just at the Rideau Centre, but also all the expropriations have all remained secret. We need transparency. This is a $2.1 billion project, the key to the city's future, and we need the City Council and the citizens of Ottawa to know why the delay actually happened. I have the feeling it's got to do with that arbitrary decision to move the station from Confederation Square to Rideau Centre. And if we don't solve this, we're going to be in the courts. That's my prediction.
Yes, Phase 2 LRT should have more accountability and more oversight by committee, as well as full council. The past few months have been a disgrace when it comes to telling citizens of our city about what's happening with LRT, the multiple pushbacks and due dates pushbacks has been awful for residents in our town, and the fact that bus services has been suspended in the meantime before LRT, and they should be reinstated as right away.
So as far as the LRT, I believe that it hasn't been a lot of transparency and accountability. And the people are not very happy with the way that things are happening with the light rail. And the City of Ottawa doesn't seem to be saying the whole lot. They seem to do a lot of finger pointing and he said, she said, communication. When I become the mayor of Ottawa, I plan on having that transparency and accountability so that the people of Ottawa know what's going on and who to talk to find out more information. Thank you.
Good question. Of course the public deserves better transparency and accountability. This is one of the reasons why voters, you should not return Jim Watson and the other developer-funded councillors. We need to know what's going on at City Hall. We need better performance. We need reliable light rail service and bus service too. So I really think that in order to have a greener, sustainable city for everyone, not just for people in cars, we need to do a much better job and elect some better councillors who are not beholden to the developers. So vote for a candidate that is clean, that does not take money from the developers. For mayor, make your own choice, but in College Ward, do not vote for Rick. I've told you that already. It would be a mistake.
Our light rail fiasco with all of the delays involved is a case in point where our City Hall is missing transparency and accountability. A $2.3 billion project has been bungled under our current mayor's watch. His excuse, well, the people that have been providing oversight haven't been doing a good job, and he guesses the responsibility lands on his shoulders. He is absolutely responsible for bungling this. It's turning into a gigantic sinkhole in costs and delays. We don't have to worry about delaying phase 2. By the time phase 1 gets rolling, we may be more than a year away. Our city taxpayers can do much better. I could have handled that job much better than our current mayor, and I hope you vote for me and get these trains rolling. Thank you.
So as far as the LRT goes, learning at the last minute that the LRT was going to be delayed, that's BS. Anybody with a degree of intelligence who gets around the city has seen the LRT projects in the downtown core primarily, right up to Tunney's Pasture, etc., has seen that those projects were far from getting started anytime soon. So the bus service, bus routes should not have been changed until next spring. It should have been obvious. You shouldn't have needed a big daddy from RDS to tell the Ottawa City, the city mayor and the city council that the project was going to be delayed till next spring. So apparently RDS is going to be fined or by the city, or the city is going to try to fine the RDS. $1 million. $1 million is not a whole heck of a lot of money for a delay of that sort. The whole project's been badly planned from the get-go, the whole LRT project.
Ottawa, you absolutely deserve better transparency and accountability at City Hall, especially with huge projects in the billions of dollars like the LRT system. When elected, I intend on pushing policy, rules, and regulations intending to increase the level of transparency and accountability at City Hall. How could I make this happen? I intend on making sure that meetings at City Hall never go behind doors once they're already scheduled. I will ensure that the public who shows up to City Council meetings are never kicked out of the stands. I'll make sure that if a meeting will take place in private, that it is not scheduled for the public in the first place.
Light rail transit is the single largest construction project in the City of Ottawa's history, and we want to get it right. We're not going to rush in order to meet an arbitrary deadline. We want to make sure the system is 100% up and running on day one, and safety and security is my number one concern. We've also made great progress when it comes to Phase 2. We want to see the system go farther east to Place d'Orleans and Trim, farther west to Moody Drive, Algonquin College, and farther south to the airport and, of course, to Riverside South. We also want to see on Phase 3 the train going to Barrhaven and Canada and Stittsville. So LRT needs a steady hand, someone with practical experience in running these major projects, and that's one of the reasons why I'm very proud that we're going to see LRT up and running in the next several months.
Here's the next question for our mayoral candidates running in the municipal election on October the 22nd. We're going to talk now about property taxes and city finances and where the city spends its money. Some people feel that a cap on property taxes of 2% over the last 4 years has put unnecessary pressure on the city's expenditures in areas like infrastructure and social services. So the question is, what level of tax increase would you support over the next 4 years, and where would you prioritize spending? Here are the candidates' answers.
The property tax is very important. Why the people, they cannot afford it? Because there is not jobs, there is not employment opportunity. So if we have a lot of employment opportunities and put a lot of money in the hands of the people, people will be happy and they can spend the money. But if there is no jobs, that's the problem. And my plan is to bring business opportunity and to connect the national capital of city into the national capital richest nation cities across the globe. So that the Canadian have money is in their hand where they can spend the money, and at the same time we have to keep the property tax low. In the end of the day, everybody is happy.
There is no question. I will not raise taxes. The first year will be 0%, and then I will go down up to 4%. The taxpayers are injecting a lot of money. And as I said previously, it's time to control your own interest. You cannot do that under biased institutions. The public, they deserve to control their own money. The budget, I will review the budget, and I promise that there will be no increase. Mr. Watson, he promised you increase 2% first year. We don't know how much more, but for me it's 0% and then up to 4% down and better services. This is my promise to each resident in this city.
I think the biggest constraint on the city's budget is how we spend our money, not whether or not it's 2% or not. A lot of people think that the budget increase is actually more like 5.5 or 6% because so many of the costs have been moved out to special service charges like water. So when I'm looking at our budget, I would be looking to spending less money on really big projects like the Alta Vista Expressway. You're looking at $56 million there that went for 1.5, not even 1.5 kilometers of roadway. We can't spend these money on these mega projects and expect to have a lower tax rate. That's why I'm saying let's go with regional rail. Let's go with a regional rail system that's built on existing rail systems. That's where the costs can be saved, and that's where we can keep our taxes down. Think about it. We brought in the O train for $20 million on existing track.
I would introduce an infrastructure tax levy on top of the property tax increases so that we could finally solve our infrastructure issues. I believe that the tax levy should be between 0.5% and 1.5% so that we can finally fix our roads and create a better infrastructure throughout Ottawa and the National Capital Region.
And today, Ottawa, everything's enough. A dividend tax increase. The fact is that people did not have a lot of money for taxes. Now, you have to understand that the city needs to pay for a program. I think the city of Ottawa needs to put more money into public transportation in order to make the city of Ottawa truly accessible for everyone.
Taxes. Well, I've heard a lot about taxes to people I talk to. It's almost as big a topic as slowing down speeding traffic, which is number one on the doorstep. And in College Ward and in other wards, the councillors haven't even spent the traffic calming budget, which I think is shameful. But in terms of tax increases overall for the city, I'm on record as calling for a 0% tax increase. Now, to attain that, it'll be hard, but it's possible. It's possible if we cut out the waste and corruption at City Hall. For example, cut down on the councillors' office budgets, $1 million to pork barrel and dine out on the taxpayer dime. That's one suggestion. If I can't meet that 0%, then we'll have to decide on council in an independent fashion what the tax level needs to be. It certainly won't be more than 2% if we cut out the corruption.
I would like to inform you all that a 2% tax increase per year that we are now following is nothing but a pack of deception and lies. You can manipulate a budget number any which way you like to come out with the number 2%. What we really should be looking at is how is our money being spent now? Why do we have so many contracts that don't go out for bid? Financial accountability and oversight is the number one priority for our city. I run a business. I do not like to raise prices, and as a taxpayer, you don't want to pay more tax. I believe we can solve a lot of our long-term problems using practical solutions that won't cost us money or create the invention of another bureaucracy which is bound to make recommendations that no one follows. Vote for me and get your money spent wisely, like I own it.
So as far as taxes go, the taxes have been rather low. Ottawa's got the lowest, one of the lowest tax rates in North America. The taxes have been artificially low all along. We need to probably increase taxes by 0.5% in general. I would think in some higher end new developments, primarily the tax rates should be higher. And perhaps in the outskirts of the city, the far areas of the city, because the snow plows have to spend more time distance getting there. Maybe, anyways, on average, the taxes should be increased by above 0.5%. And we have some pothole problems, and we have all kinds of problems. We have some infrastructure that needs to be updated, baseline road, traffic congestion, Queensway traffic congestion. We need better transit system for public transit from in the southern part of the city.
When it comes to taxes, I intend on increasing taxes because as they are right now, I am very confident that they are too low for the city that we could have and the services that we deserve as citizens of this amazing city. In terms of prioritizing spending, I will prioritize our safety and security moving forward, always. I will prioritize spending in areas of the city that encourage positive growth moving forward. Our biggest issue as a city is deciding the type of city that we want to become. Do we want to become a city of tall buildings with no recreational activities being possible in our communities? Or do we want a city that is vibrant, lively, and full of activities that anyone can participate in? It's up to us to decide.
I'm proud of the fact that we brought fiscal stability and predictability back to City Hall. Some of you may remember previous councils bringing tax increases 2 and 3 times the rate of inflation. That was just not acceptable. We want to provide good services, but at the same time we want to make sure that they're affordable for all residents, particularly seniors on fixed incomes. I kept to a pledge of 2%, and that brought fiscal discipline back to City Hall, where we didn't go on a spending spree each and every budget cycle. I'll be releasing over the course of the campaign my tax plan, which will be realistic to provide the good basic services, whether it's increased police protection, better roads and infrastructure, so that we can continue to live in a city that is dynamic, safe, green, but also affordable.
And our final question to the mayoral candidates is about community safety. Gun violence has been increasing dramatically in recent years in Ottawa. What specific steps would you take to address the gun violence problem? Here are the candidates' answers.
Gun violence is a very important issue because security is the demand of the people. If you have a clean city without security, there is a problem. So to address that problem, the city is supposed to support the police force and provide them better equipment, trainings, whatever they need, because security is our priority. At the same time, again, it's belong to the budget. If we have a prosperous city, if we have a prosperous people, and the people, they have money, and city has the budget, then we can do it together. So I will make sure that we go together as a teamwork and make our city beautiful and also solve our issue based on teamwork.
We have a major problem today. The residents, they don't feel safe. What the city is doing now, what Mr. Watson is doing over this last 30 years, is increasing the number of police. We have more police, more crimes. When I'm elected, Buragba will not hire more police. I will reduce crimes to 0. To maintain the security of the city, all what we need is to invest in the social justice. Our problem is the lack of social justice. Once that is solved, there will be no crimes. My message is clear. There will be no more police hired. The safety depends on our justice system. End of the story.
Hello. Gun control is probably one of the reasons we are seeing increase in violence. We saw that as soon as the federal law was rescinded, immediately gun violence started to go up. So we need better gun control without a doubt. We need to do what the Mayor of Toronto says and limit the sale of small arms. And also the other thing we have to do is we have to get community policing, proactive community policing back. We need less assault policemen, equipped to deal with mega violence, and more cops in the parks, in the streets, in the community centers. There's a clear relationship between the loss of proactive community policing, which happened in this last term of council, and the way violence has increased, and it's been staggering. So we need young people to have different models, different ways of reaching out to the community, especially those at risk. And the best way to do that is to have strong community presence with the police, and also strong community services.
I believe that we should increase police presence in all communities across the city, as well as have better services for at-risk youth so that we can make sure that they do not fall into the trap of violence and gang violence. It's imperative that our community takes care of our youngest citizens and gives them the opportunity to succeed and become great members of our society.
So the reason tenants go around, there's been an increase in gun violence. And quite frankly, I don't think the city is doing very enough. In order to stop gun violence, I believe there needs to be better communication between the police and the area and which they serve. The residents of Ottawa are really afraid to go out and be in the neighborhood due to the violence. Something needs to be done right now.
Gun violence is certainly a big issue in my ward and citywide for obvious reasons. What's the solution? Many will say we just need to hire more police, that we need to increase the police budget, whatever's necessary, just give them whatever they want. And certainly I believe the police do need adequate tools. They're doing an important and dangerous job. But I think we should first look at problems of morale on the force. We should listen to the frontline officers. I think that we need a new police chief, and I know a lot of people will agree with me. We need a new chair of the Ottawa Police Service Board, so I'm hoping Councillor El Shantiri will not get re-elected. And we need a better strategy to get the communities on side in the fight against crime. There's a lack of trust in the community, and it's not the frontline officers' fault, it's the politicians' fault. So what I think is not neighborhood watch, it's not enough. More than that.
Gun violence is a major concern of any metropolitan city. I believe that our dedicated officers on our police force need a lot more support than what they're already getting. We need to put more resources so we can reestablish community policing and make our streets safe. Our unsung heroes on the road are our police officers. Let's make sure that they are equipped and ready to deal with the increasing threats of gun violence. And let's look at reducing crime in ways where we can reduce homelessness, provide more social housing. We can do a lot in our city to save on the amount of policing that's required in some areas, and we can put those resources to work so we can get them back on the job and where they need to be in our communities, providing local surveillance, local coverage to our neighborhoods to end crime.
So as far as gun violence in the city, it's a problem, and it's a matter of living, caliber of living that's available in the city to a lot of people. I think a lot of the projects area, the lower income areas, the quality of life in that area is maybe something could be done to make people feel better so that we don't have the kind of violence we have. Now we've got a new provincially elected government. They're going to take a much tougher stance on crime, and they're popping off about $25 million across the province extra. That was beyond what the previous government was planning. A lot of that money is going to be coming to Ottawa. A lot of the money is going to go into the legal system and there are going to be some tough measures brought in to deter people from getting into organized crime and gun violence. So we can expect to see the gun violence very dramatically drop.
Being born in Guatemala, a third world country, as a child, I was exposed to extreme levels of poverty. I witnessed the horrors of gang and gun violence. I've witnessed the horrors of living in a country where it is believed that all citizens should have the right to own weapons, purpose to kill. This is not the right way to approach this. Firearms do not belong in the hands of civilians. Countries like Japan, who have adopted this idea, have the lowest rate of gun violence ever, anywhere. Why do we turn our heads every time there is a perfect example of a country like Japan with little to no gun violence? Let's just adopt these premises and move on.
There's no question one of the great preoccupations of many neighborhoods is public safety. That's why we've increased the number of police officers on the beat by 85, not just 75 as was promised, but we went above and beyond that to get more officers into guns and gangs. We also have to make sure it's not just an enforcement issue. That is important. Police presence is an important aspect of our safety plan. But we also have to take preventative measures. That's why for the first time in the city's history, we provided significant dollars, $400,000, for a gang exit strategy working with Crime Prevention Ottawa. So we can get to some of the root problems to get these young people off the streets and into apprenticeships, colleges, and universities. But we also have to be vigilant, and that's why I will be supporting increased police presence and police officers in the next term of council to ensure we have proper and adequate coverage to deter crime in all of our neighborhoods in all parts of the City of Ottawa.
Now that we've heard the candidates' answers on those three questions, we are going to allow each of them now a closing statement of 1 minute in length. Here are the mayoral candidates' closing statements.
My plan is to connect the national capital of Ottawa to the national capitals of the richest nation across the globe. We have a lot of brain power in Ottawa. Right now, unfortunately, they don't have job opportunity, and they are traveling to get a job. But when I am the mayor of Ottawa, that's gonna change. We will create business, long-term business opportunity with the richest nation across the globe. At the same time, they can benefit from our brain power, and we can benefit from their prosperity and their wealth. So by doing that, we can bring prosperity to the city, at the same time turn the city for a long-term business opportunity.
Dear residents, this is Ahmed Bouragba speaking to you from the heart. When you go to vote, you are hiring someone. You need to hire someone strong, someone reliable. You're not hiring a king, you are hiring a servant that will be in the city to welcome you and serve you. The past history of our city and all our level of governments, they serve the people there, or our politicians, they serve only the interest of corporations. That's done. If I be in the office, elected, and if you give me your voice, I will fight for you. There'll be no more fighting for corporations. The corporations are there to help you, to support you, not to use your funds.
We live in a beautiful, beautiful city. It is at the corner of the center of 4 wonderful rivers. We have enormous resources. We're sheltered by the hills of the Gatineau with a world-class park that people come from all over the world to cycle and ski in and enjoy nature. We have a magnificent experimental farm in the center of it, which gives us green space that no other city can count on. We are fortunate, but we can do much, much better. We want to have a city that's actually sustainable, where we don't see our taxes increase, where we see buildings that actually are not 65 stories high, but are much lower, in keeping with the natural world and in keeping with what sustainable cities all over the world look like. And they look like lower rise, they look like places where communities are respected and the values of each community is honored. We don't have that right now. We need it.
This term of council will help shape the 30-year vision for our nation's capital. And I believe that if there ever was a time where the issues affecting both sides of the river are to be addressed, then that time is now. Although I might be a long shot in terms of my chances of winning this election, I believe that the biggest winner of this campaign could actually be an idea. I believe that the time is now to start the conversation on how we can better run this region. I believe that the time is now to be courageous and to push for a big leap forward that will fundamentally transform how we are governed. My name is Joey Drouin. I have a vision, and I'm running for mayor of our nation's capital. Thank you.
So, as mayor of Ottawa, and I'm a person living with a disability, I determined to win the vote for me for a few reasons. Number one, Ottawa needs somebody new with a new idea and a fresh outlook on how to handle things. Ottawa is becoming bigger every year. And during that time, not a whole lot has been done to achieve freedom of disability. And I would like to have the chance to be the face to represent the City of Ottawa as we move forward in time. Thank you.
We need to bring in the smart people instead of concentrating power in the hands of greedy developer-financed career politicians. We need more transparency at City Hall, more democracy, and less Jim Watson. More respect for the taxpayer, no backroom deals. Listen to Ecology Ottawa, Bike Ottawa, Waste Watch Ottawa. We need a ward council system composed of transparent, legitimate community associations. We need ranked choice voting so we can have fairer and friendlier elections. Stop taking dirty money. Mr. Watson, Rick Torelli, reveal the sources of your campaign donations before the election, not after. I'm Craig McCauley at bellscorners.wordpress.com. In College Word, vote Emily or Ryan, not Rick.
Who is Bruce McConville and why should he be your next mayor? One thing I have a natural talent for is doing the impossible. I believe it's quite possible to end homelessness in Ottawa. We need to get away from the concept of warehousing and segregating our homeless and actually putting them into homes with the support they need. We can increase our stock of affordable housing so that there's no longer a 10-year wait. Both moves will more than pay for themselves and provide additional funds that we can use to reduce taxes or to increase services in other areas. I am already leading the way on this issue, and it will be done whether I'm your mayor or not. Vote Bruce McConville. You are going to get a creative visionary who has the skills and ability to lead this city where we need to be. Thank you.
So I'm asking you for my vote. I am obviously a not super well-known candidate. I'm probably by far the best qualified candidate to be your next mayor. I'm an out-of-the-box thinker. I've got experience in the thousands of hours of experience in the arts and entertainment field, movies, film, acting on stage. I'm a very talented fine artist. I'm a legal savvy, smart business development, policy development individual. I'm somebody who can pick up complex new skills like dentistry, and I've got some legal cases on the go right now. I'm capable of dealing with big players, I'm ongoingly dealing with big organizations with some high-profile legal disputes, and I'm very much a win-win leverage person.
We live in one of the most serene and safest cities in the whole world, and that I appreciate. As mayor, I'll help our city utilize its intellectual capital in order to realize and actualize our city's true potential. I have things worth giving, ideas worth sharing, and talents worth developing. When you elect me mayor, I will transform Ottawa into one of the most vibrant and healthiest cities the world has ever seen, without a doubt. And that's not a promise. That's a hard guarantee that you will not get anywhere else. Thank you for listening to me today. I wish you a beautiful week. Please vote on October 22nd between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. Vote for young, honest, bold, and innovative change. Every time, vote for me. Visit moseschatler.com to learn more.
I've often said in politics, you run on your record or you run from your record. I'm running on my record because I'm proud of the work that we have done, whether it's on LRT, the Zibi project, LeBreton Flats, the Civic Hospital. These are major city building projects that are going to take place in the next term of council. Not to even mention the brand new library that we're going to put in LeBreton Flats. We need someone with steady hands, experience, and someone who knows really how to get things done. Lots of people talk about these projects. I'm actually implementing them with the collaborative approach of our city council, staff, community groups, business leaders, labor leaders, and the other 2 levels of government where we require their funding to make sure these projects become a reality. I'd encourage you to please go out and vote October 22nd. You can get more information on advanced polls on my website, jimwatson.ca, and I thank you for the honor of serving the people of Ottawa over the last several years. Thank you very much.
Those are the closing statements from the candidates who are running for mayor in the municipal election on October the 22nd here in Ottawa. I want to remind you that we will have live coverage of the election results on election night, October the 22nd, starting at 8 p.m. when the polls close, right here on Rogers TV and also on 1310 News Radio. I hope you can join us then. Thank you for watching.